And then, based on this uh, area gross, magko-compute na tayo ngayon ng required area of steel. Okay, required area of steel now is still based on your PU and your new area gross. So required AS is equal to PU, multiply that again by 1000, divided by 0.85 times phi, minus 0.85 F prime C times area gross, divided by Fy minus 0.85 F prime C. So your required AS now is 3,462.76 millimeters square. Now, para malaman mo yung number of pieces ng 25 mm, okay, you simply divide that by the of area of one bar. So 3462.76 divided by pi 25 square all over 4, lumalabas na 7.05 pieces. Okay? In some cases, pwede mong i-round down yan na 7 pieces na lang. Total, yung required mo ay 492, ginawa mo ng 500. Okay? So, just to be sure, gawin mo na lang yung 8 pieces. So, meron na tayong bagong area of steel ngayon. So, that is n pi dB square all over 4. That is now your actual area of steel. Okay? And then, take note na your area of steel is 3,926. This should be greater than your required AS na 3462. Okay? So, this is now satisfied. Now, let's check your steel ratio. It is equal to AS all over area gross. Your AS is 3926 divided by pi D square. Take note that your D is 500. So your steel ratio, dito na tayo, this is your steel ratio, is 0.02. It is within range, greater than 0.01 and less than 0.06, therefore it is okay. After that, knowing that your steel is okay, you now have to compute your capacity axial load, which is equal to 0.85 times P times the quantity 0.85 F prime C times the quantity AG minus AS. Ang gagamitin mong AG dito yung using 500 mm tapos yung AS using 8 pieces na 25 plus FYAS. Okay? You divide this by 1,000 para maging kilonewton na siya. Okay. Your capacity PU is 3,915. You compare that to your load na 3,800. Since your capacity is greater than your load, therefore, it is okay. Next is, we will now check your spacing of spiral. So, the equation for spiral, ito yung set of equations for spiral. For spiral check, we first compute for diameter of core, that is D minus twice of clear cover, and you have 420 mm. Next, you compute the area of core. You have AC, area of core is pi times DC square all over 4. You get 138,544. And then you compute for required ratio of spiral, that is 0.45 D square minus DC square minus 1 times F prime C minus FYS. FYS is the yield strength of your spiral. Pero, yung walang given na yield strength ng spiral. So, we will adopt the yield strength of rebars, which is 414.6. And then, so required steel ratio is now 0.0125. And from that required steel ratio, we can compute your required spacing. So it's now pi ds squared times the quantity dc minus ds all over required spiral ratio times dc squared. Yan. So lumalabas na ang required spacing mo ay 58.42. In this case, we will round down. Kapag spiral, laging round down. Okay? Spiral or stirrups always round down. So round down to the nearest 5, this now becomes 55. Pwede rin namang 50. Pero kapag 50, baka naman masyado ka ng maraming spiral. Also, kapag detailing na, lalagay mo na sa plano, pwedeng 50 ang gagamitin mo para mas madaling i-layout instead of 55. Okay? So for now, we will try 55. So, we are now in this first check. So, dito sa spiral, tatlo ang checks natin. So, this is first check, second check, and then third check. For your first check, you have to do S minus DS. So, that is 55 minus 10. Dapat greater than this condition. Okay? Your first condition is maximum of 25 and 1.5 of diameter aggregate. Your second condition or your upper range is the minimum of 75 and DC all over 6, which is this. This is 75 and then DC all over 6. So lumalabas na 70 is greater than 45 is greater than 30. Saan ang galing tong 30? Yan yung 20 times diameter of aggregate. Now, for the second check, dito na tayo. Pi times the quantity DC minus twice of diameter of stirrups minus diameter of bar all over number of rebars, which is 8. It should be greater than these two conditions. The maximum of 1.5 diameter bar or 40 or 4/3 of diameter of aggregate. Take note na diameter of aggregate is the same as AGG. Okay, so this shows na this condition greater than is satisfied. 147.26 is greater than 40. Therefore, it is okay. Ngayon, dito na tayo sa third check. Rho S, this is your actual spiral ratio. It is pi ds squared times the quantity dc minus ds all over dc squared times s. Your s here is your 55. It should be greater than your required spiral ratio. Okay, so this should be rho S. Palitan nyo na lang. So, lumalabas na 0.0133 is greater than your rho S na 0.0125. Ano to? 0.0125 required rho S. So, therefore, it is okay. And finally, for short columns, ito na yung Roman numeral number 7, investigation of concrete filled pipe. So this is problem 5.9. Again, this is the sample. And then this is the set of equations. And we will go to problem 5.9. Dito sa baba. It says here, a 250 megapascal 300 mm pipe, 12 mm thick, is filled with 27.6 concrete. Check minimum thickness and find capacity PU. Yang 250 megapascal, yan yung FY. Capital F dahil section ito or pipe. And then 300 mm, I think this is capital D. Tapos this is small t. and then this is f prime c. Okay, so let's go to the sample. Ayan. So check minimum T and capacity Pu. Ito yung ating equation. So D is 300. Okay, T is 12 mm. Your capital Fy is 250. And then diameter of bar, walang binigay na bakal sa loob. Obviously walang N. So the equation for minimum thickness is D times the square root of capital Fy all over 8 times elasticity of steel. So this is 3.72. Note that your minimum should always be lesser than your actual T, or your actual T should be equal to or greater than your minimum. So your T here is 12 mm. So therefore it is okay. We now compute the area of concrete. The area of concrete is pi times the quantity D minus twice of thickness. This is also known as area of core o kaya area of concrete. Okay? So that is 59,828.49 millimeter square. Ito na yun. Now let's go to area of steel. Wala tayong rebar, so zero lang yung AS. And then we have area of steel section. Usually, ang area of steel section, yan yung nasa loob. Okay, yan yung nasa loob. But this time, ang ating ASS is your pipe. Okay? So, ASS now, area of steel section, is the area of the whole pipe minus the area of concrete. Okay, so pi times d square, 300 square all over 4, it will give you 10,857.34 millimeters square. So AS is equal to 0. So therefore, your capacity Pu now is P, which is 0.75 times 0.85 times the quantity 0.85 F prime C times the quantity area of core or area of concrete minus AS plus FYAS, 0 lang yan, plus capital Fy times ASS. Your capital Fy here is nasan ka? 250 megapascal. And then area of steel section is 10,857. Divide this by 1,000 and you get 2,625.17 kilonewton. Now you compute your moment. Capacity Pu times 5% times diameter of pipe. Take note na diameter of pipe is 300 mm. Convert ko na yan ng meter. Or this is simply 300 divided by 1,000 will give you 0.3. Now, your capacity Mu is 39.38 kilonewton meter. So that's it. Roman numerals 1 to 7. Ngayon, ang gagawin ninyo, you try to solve all of this. Lecture 1, short column problems. Okay? Short column problems. And then, ito. Try nyo yung i-solve lahat yan. Also, you try to repeat the sample problems, Roman numerals 1 to 7. And then, you check the figures, you check the numbers, you check the answers. Kapag meron kayo nakitang mali, please notify me and probably I can give you some credits for it. So, that's it guys. That is the end of lecture 1. I will be posting requirements in the days ahead. So, stay safe and God bless.